or that there was no man present in the household. So, or they may have seen their mothers encounter abuse from men, or such as their fathers, for example, and it just make them see things from a different perspective and make them reconsider, well, shit, I want to get involved in a relationship. Because what if that man treats me the way that my father treated my mother, or my mother's boyfriends treat her, or etc. You know, so it makes them like think twice, make them think about, well, maybe relationship is not for me. Then you got some females who was reared the wrong way, and thinking that you go after a man based on his monetary resources, and not based on the person that he is as far as his individuality. And so, with that being the case, you got women that will go for men based on monetary resources or based on sexual desires. So, if that man cannot please her sexually, then she feel like, oh, what's the use of me having him around? If he can't do anything for her monetarily, then she's thinking to herself, well, what's the purpose of me really having him around? I seen a post today where somebody posted where someone asked the question, why do you hate poor black men so much? And and here's the thing, I don't think it's so much of women hating poor black men. It's just that they know that that man that might be poor cannot provide the resources for them. So with that being said, they feel like he's not, it's no point of having him around, or he's not useful. Now, what makes a man poor is his mentality. That's what makes him poor. And when I say his mentality, as far as his way of thinking, that could make a person poor. But getting back to the point that I'm making, um, yeah, so many factors plays into why so many women are the way they are today. And as I mentioned, one could be the way how she was raised, and the other could be based on the experience in her relationship involving with men, and also the peer pressure, meaning that you got girlfriends all in your ear and telling you, girl, this is what you need to do, this is how you get them, da 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 da, this is how you gotta run that game, you gotta know how to finesse them. So you got and it makes me feel kind of bad, like when I know it's young girls, they sit back, they listen to these female rappers out here. Like, don't, I'm not taking away their talent, but it's kind of like they encouraging them to get out there and do things that would put them in a detrimental situation. So whether it's teaching them how to finesse, teach them how to run games, or how to take somebody else's man and get involved with them, and etc. Things like that. So what I'm pretty much trying to say is that a lot of these females did not have the proper guidance. It's not like how our great grandmothers and grandmothers was coming up, where they have a strong female figure in the household teaching them how to be a woman, and teach them what to look for in a man, and what a man's supposed to look for into them. So you got a case where these women, they don't have the guidance, and they don't even know what womanhood looks like, for one. Like, many don't know what it means to be a woman. That's another problem right there. You don't know what it means to be a woman. You think that womanhood is about creating this imagery. You think womanhood is about this, your body, your sex, and it's more to it. It's, most women have not been taught how to use their mind, because your mind is where your power is, not in between your legs, or not good. Basically, not in between your legs, but in your head. That's where your power is at. So that's why you have so much dysfunctionality going on, because of the fact that there's not a proper upbringing, there's no rite of passage, there is there's no structure or discipline that's taking place. So you got the little chaos going on, and then you have a issue where men and women lack understanding of each other, where men and women cannot properly communicate with each other, because either the man feels like the woman is trying to dominate him, or the woman feels like the man trying to dominate him. And then you got a society that we living in, which is a Western society that's based off of chaos, that creates this this dichotomy between men and women, where you got not only a group of misogynists, but you got those who are misandrous, and misandrous is a woman that discriminates against men. So now you create a problem. You create a chaos right then and there, so it becomes problematic. It becomes an issue. So I think that we need to get back into learning, like Kansu said, learning about the roles of men and women, and what is a role of a woman and what is a role of a man, and how to bring that balance, or as they talk about in the comedic culture, my odds. So that way that it will be a lot more even, and it'll be a lot better if we had gender roles where women play their part and men play their part, and it wouldn't be so much conflict and so much confusion. So that's my input for right now. I mean, I got more, but I have to get all my thoughts together.
Hey, that's a lot to say right there. That's a whole mouthful right there off top. Because just one thing to say what you just said, but it's another thing to put it in practice. Because then it's going to be like which rite of passage should we have?
Right, right.
Which system should we have? Because we got all this choice. In our system here in our Western society. So that's powerful right there.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I kind of think with the advent of information being so accessible and the internet has made the world so small that we don't use our natural organic intelligence. We rely on a lot of third party stimuli. In relationships, I mean, in my opinion, as a man from the era I was in, it may not be popular now. This is a man's world. I don't recall in history any women building any monolithic governments because that just wasn't their place. And the women talk too much nowadays. Um, Men are really passive and too damn intelligent and not. They don't apply the intelligence. We do a lot of philosophizing. So you don't apply. So women got to put up with that shit. They got to listen to a bunch of bullshit talk. I think a lot of women would probably, me assuming, again, I'm ignorant because I can't speak for women, but if men would
Uh-huh.
just do what the fuck they say they gonna do, quit fucking whining, and when the woman talk too much, check her ass. Um, that's just a natural role in nature, but men value women for different reasons. Like we were joking about Megan Thee Stallion, I think she's a phenomenal rapper. She's not bad looking, but this motherfucker, she built like motherfucking like a power forward for the Bulls. Big motherfucker.
For the what?
She's a big motherfucker.
What?
Yes.
So what did you just say? Hold on. What did go back? Go back. What did you just say?
She built like Carmelo Anthony. She's a big motherfucker.
No.
I mean,
Oh, I'm dead.
if you ever seen her next to other women,
Big
she
women
like
didn't just come out now though. They've
she
been
like
around.
Forrest Whitaker up on these women.
Oh.
But men say she fine, knowing goddamn well she popular. She ain't fine.
She's
Oh,
no
oh
good.
my
What she
God! Here we
what?
go with this
She ain't
bullshit
fine.
again.
She popular. She popular. I mean, the taste we put some undue pressure on black women to wear all that bullshit ass hair, bullshit ass eyelashes, looking like snuffleupagus,
Hey,
Damn.
can I
Cosmo,
say something real
stop it.
quick? Can I
Cosmo,
say
stop
something real
it.
quick? Can I say something real quick?
Yes,
Go
sir. Go
ahead.
ahead.
This is the whole crazy thing about this conversation right here. And the reason I gotta
Yes, sir.
call you out, Consul, is to be honest, is because, bro, you the one that made me even pay attention to her, bro. Used to be
As
all
a
over, like, look at
rapper,
her, look at this girl, look at this girl, look at this girl, man. I started checking out.
she's a
Now all of a
rapper.
sudden, I don't know, a week ago, now she too much. Now she a little.
He had time to think about it. He looking at it like
No, I
if
said
you
she
was to
was
meet
bad
her
as
in
a
person.
rapper. I never said That was the
Yeah,
pretty.
yeah. He wanted you to look at her raps. He wanted you to
I'm
look at
talking
her
about her
raps.
rap skill.
He
I
ain't
No,
wasn't
got it
talking about her
no,
wrong.
lip.
Nah, he just got to
no, my
thinking.
man. No, no,
He
no.
got
Let
to
me tell
thinking
y'all
if
what
he in
happened.
person with her, she gonna be
Consul.
too big for
No,
him
no.
and
Listen, listen,
intimidating.
listen, listen, listen. This is the thing about social media. There's a footprint, right? Consul done tagged me in more than probably about 3 posts with Megan Thee Stallion on it. Like, oh, she bad. I love her. I love her. She bad. Oh my god. Now she now all of a sudden she a Sasquatch. Like, come on, bro.
He had time to
Like, it
think
was
about it.
all good just a week ago. What happened,
He
bro?
was in
What
lust.
happened?
Oh
He was in
man,
lust. He had that initial. He was in
I had
lust.
an opportunity to really look at her, and when I started seeing her standing against normal women, I said, "This might be a tranny right here, man."
Oh,
Oh no, 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 that oh
yo,
no.
Hey, yo,
you
you
violated
know what
because
the real
hold
problem
on, you
is, right?
violated because her mom is a rapper, so she's just following the
Hey,
footsteps of her mom,
y'all
yo.
know what the real problem is, right? Here's the problem. See, Consu liked her until he found out that she was taller than him. After that, he was
No,
mad about that.
man. My
That's what I'm
ex-wife
saying.
is
Hey,
taller
Rue.
than me.
That's what I'm saying. He thought
My
about it.
ex-wife is taller
He
than me.
saw her standing
I'm
next to
only five
people,
nine.
and he imagined himself standing next to her and was like, "Nah, that ain't
She
gonna
five
cut it.
ten.
That ain't gonna cut it."
No, she like 5'11", yeah.
Yeah, she like 5'11". She right up. She down there.
Hey, don't make
Like
me no
I said,
difference. She can come on to this side because I'm 6'1". I'm
but y'all
cool.
wear the same shoe, dog. Y'all wear the same shoe.
No,
You wrong,
A female that's
Castle.
five, a female that's 5'11", she rocking some Shacks. She wearing some Shacks. You know this.
Castle is he is a mess.
She got them big ass hands like she changing
hey
car
man,
plates. She got them big ass
hey
car
man, hey man. I'm finna shift the focus real quick because you tripping. Hey, how about this? Hey,
plates.
how about this? In almost 2020, right?
Yeah,
What is the benefit of marriage in 2020?
I think it's a status thing. I don't think there's any social benefactor for it. I think it's status.
Cause like, really,
I agree.
what's the point of it? I
Yeah,
mean, like nowadays, like me personally, like my view on marriage at this point is kind of antiquated, right? Like, don't get me wrong, there's still hope
Right.
out there. Like, I would like to get married at one day or find somebody
Right.
that, you know what I'm saying, that I would like to do it, but I can't act like society, or at least the Western society and where we live in, has changed a whole lot, and it's to the point where it almost seems like marriage is starting to be obsolete. What is the point of doing it?
There's no family support.
Right.
Exactly.
The key behind marriage is two families coming together. There's no support.
That's right.
yep,
Like,
Both sides of the family, they don't value the shit.
yep.
no,
Exactly.
my thing is
Yeah,
like
that's because both sides probably hate each other. So
no,
Yeah,
my thing is it ain't even got to be the family support. It's more along the lines of male and female roles in a relationship, because the lines are
Uh-huh.
starting to be blurred so damn much. It's like, who actually needs anybody? Like, to be honest, at this point, like I'll take myself for example. You know what I'm saying? I do my own work. You know, I got my own house. You know, I got my own vehicle, all that. And I can get by doing everything by myself. I really don't need a wife. I mean, it's like I get no benefit from having her around, except I'm gonna have to end up spending more money because now it's two people. And you know how things are nowadays. Not things are nowadays. Everything is not as affordable as it used to be. So me feeding another person when I already got a child, for what? What do I really need that other person for? To be honest, like, I can really just get by having a bunch of female friends and calling it a day.
I don't argue
Well,
with
You do have that option. That's the thing about this society we in. You do have that option to do
Come on,
that.
Tiffany. I need a woman's perspective. Talk to me.
right,
Come on.
right, right.
okay,
Bring it in.
okay then. All right, all right.
Bring it in. Bring it in.
Um
Come on.
I mean, I say this as Trish said, you have an option if you want to be in a relationship or not. But I figure that the purpose of having a relationship is to have somebody that is compatible to you. somebody that you will, if you willing to settle down and you want to spend the rest of your life with that person, you already got somebody there. You don't have to keep searching anymore or keep looking for that person that shares something in common with you, because you already got that person with you. So yeah, that would be the purpose of having a relationship, and that would be a purpose. That would be a purpose of her being that support system, being somebody that you can talk to when when you're going through your troubles, when you're going through hard times. Someone that you can have a family with. If you want to build a family, you got somebody there. So it serves its purpose. There is a purpose of having um a spouse or a soulmate. You just have to be willing to go for that and be willing to settle for that. I mean, that's something that you have to make that choice for. But if you choose not to, then that's on you. That's your business.
I mean, I said I'm still holding out. I'm just like I'm just looking at, you know what I'm saying, what's going on as a whole, and I'm almost feeling like a little bit like it's almost no point in just the institution of marriage anymore.
I
And
mean,
I think
because marriage is not often talked about or discussed like it used to be at one point in time. And when people get married, and I know it's this, people get married just for different reason other than love. They get married for money. They get married because it's about reputation. They get married for clout purposes. So it's like the marriage of today become a travesty. It becomes a joke. It's like, well, where's the sincerity behind this marriage? Where's that bond? Where's the connection with that person? So you just marry this person this just because you want reputation, or just because this person have money or have some type of income, they could bring some income. But what about the individual themselves? What about valuing that person for who they are? What about that?
True indeed. True indeed. That's real.
You asking for a lot right there.
Yeah,
Well, today you are.
absolutely.
That's pretty basic.
Companionship. That's pretty much what that
Right,
come down to. Companionship. Somebody you
right,
live over a long period
mentioned
of
that
time that you could share with, experiences, you know what I'm saying, and all of that, as well as monetary. That's going to come with the territory. As long as it's not
Yeah,
too blatant or too, excessive. Yeah, you're gonna spend a little bit. She gonna spend a little bit too. But
right,
all of this expecting, like, you have to spend this, and this is what I'm used to. You hear that phrase women throw around. I'm used to this kind of lifestyle. Like, all of these things cause anxiety because you got to try to live up to that to have this
right,
happy marriage or whatever.
right. I think for
Mhm.
financially, I think before a lot of people decide to get married, um, they should at least have a reasonable amount of money in the bank, just because it's one thing to take care of yourself, and you can kind of adjust on the fly. But when you got somebody else, and then add on top of that, if you got their kids or y'all kids,
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to
it
dip in that
becomes a
emergency fund.
correct. Yeah, correct. So I think at least something like maybe 50,000 in the bank sitting. That way, if something go down, you're not just out there with a hope and a prayer trying to make it. So I think that's like the crucial thing, especially when like if you go through the whole procedure of going through the wedding and things like that. It's gonna be very expensive. So I think
It's over.
that's a huge factor that gets overlooked.
Mel said, "Go get her a tamale."
Go get her a tamale.
Yes.
Yo,
huh?
y'all there? Hello?
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what Triz was saying, but yeah, I was saying the money part is going to be a big factor, especially when merging with somebody. I think that's something that get often overlooked. I think, especially with the new age, they
I'm
think,
back.
hey, she got a job, I got a job, let's move in together, and then let's get married. because we both working and we live in one home and things like that. When that's not necessarily the best move financially.
Exactly.
That just
Hey,
disqualifies a whole lot of us, by the way, in the community.
hey,
You
Mel,
know,
did I
you
just
got
hear
Yeah,
you say
yeah,
that?
yeah.
we're not even in a
Did I just
position
hear you
to
ask that
make
individual
these
need to
kind of
have
decisions,
50K
but we
saved up?
want to feel like that we can, in 2019. We
Right,
should
right,
in theory be able to be married and have the investment funds and have the 401k and be sitting pretty with the picket fence. Of course, that's not what's happening, but we still
right,
try to sort of force that to be the reality, but it's not really the reality. So we
right,
go into debt to try to do that.
right, right. Hey, yeah, Harv, you said you had something.
No, I was asking, did I hear you say that? Are you saying the individual should have 50K saved up, or are you saying like the married couple should have 50K saved up?
I say at least between the two of you guys, you should have a reasonable amount saved up. 50K sounds reasonable. I mean, depending on your situation, whether you have a lot of kids involved, then it could be definitely more. So it just depends.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. That figure's kind of shaky because you got to think, man. Let's be real about it. I mean, most working class Americans probably don't make 50K a year.
Right, I
Um,
understand that. I understand that, but
And
if
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm really not trying to be funny.
right, right, I completely, yeah, I completely get that it's not necessarily
Like
logical
it's
in
kind of
today's
hard to
stance,
say
but
something that you don't even make, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
facts, facts. But I think at the same time, you got to understand the importance behind making that move that you're gonna make. And I think that the one way to make sure that you at least have that sort of the respectability and importance for the responsibility is to have the financial status set up for it. You may never use it, but just so that you have it is crucial because now you know that you're making an investment into someone else's lives or some children's lives. So I think that's the
I'm
crucial part. It's not necessarily the amount, um, because it just depends on your lifestyle.
I said this in the back chat, but public. Another reason I'm
Yeah.
not too fond of marriage nowadays is I'm afraid of her taking half my shit, man. I'm really been like, don't get me wrong. Like in my head, I promise you, in my head, if I do get married, I'm only doing it one time, and that's really to death do us part. Because you're not finna take half my shit ever. I'm not finna start over. I'm 33. I'm too old to start over. I done started over mid 20s. At this point in my life, I ain't starting over no damn more. I got what I got, and I'm gonna keep what I got. And you not finna take my shit.
Hey, you better, and you better go get a cat.
Hey, you say I'm gonna be single fella with, I'm gonna be a cat man.
okay, now I would like to ask this question. And there's some men that tends to not want to get involved with women who may have children or multiple children, especially if they have multiple children by other guys in the past. And women likewise, there's some women that don't want to be involved with men who got kids of their own. So, uh, what is your thought on this whole thing about, not wanting to be with someone that have children?
I I'll go first. All right. Honestly, I think this particular question, it has to have a lot. It's a lot of variables involved in that, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because it's probably not so much as you having a bunch of children. It just has to be like your situation and what you got going on. Because I've been in situations where I've been with women who've had like four kids. Or I've been with women who didn't have any kids.
Uh-huh.
You can't help who you like or who you love. It is what it is. But I will tell you this
Right.
though. Your feeling your feeling about her having children is probably going to involve the age of those children. and maybe
Mhm.
if their fathers aren't involved in their lives, because you got to think. To be honest, I mean, there are a lot of guys out here that like kids, wouldn't mind, having step kids. But then there are you got some guys who like, hey, I like this woman, but I really don't want to be too hands on with her kids. And like, you really can't blame them, especially with today's society and people tiptoeing around children. I could understand both points of view. Like, I can understand somebody not really wanting to be involved with the children, and then I can also understand somebody who's like, hey, I want to be fully hands on. So I can see it from both sides. I just say it depends on that particular person and the age of the kids and what's going on with that particular situation. Because to be honest, older kids are more favorable because those you don't have to be so hands on with those children. They already established, they doing their own thing. Boom, you ain't got to worry about them. Younger kids, different
Mhm.
story. So that means that there's probably another man in the picture who's probably the father of these children, or then even if he's not in the picture, that means that these children are going to look up to you to be a father figure if you are involved with their mother. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of variables involved in it. It's just depending upon you as a person and where you want to go with that woman and how do you feel about that situation.
Yep, and if they're
That's my
familiar
take
with
on
their
it.
father, they can be some evil little rugrats. I tell you that. But no, Herbert is correct. Age does matter due to the details within the responsibility you having to not only take care of yourself, but again you have to take care of someone else and whatever baggage they bring along. So that includes your children. And if you're in a position, not just financially but mentally, where you're only thinking about yourself, that's not really going to work well with you. Um, and having having a woman who maybe just had a child within maybe 6 months is very very touchy because it's like, okay, this is a crucial time where the person that you just had the baby with should be in their lives. So me being here is not necessarily going to be beneficial for me, and honestly, it's going to cause us to clash because someone's not doing their part, and then I have to overdo due to the fact that I just want to spend some time with that person. So age does matter. It just depends on whether you're willing to take up the challenge. But even if they're older, they can still be they can still need that type of advice and training that you can give, uh, even though you don't have to necessarily be hands on with them consistently. Um, Another factor is um, with these children being there, a lot of times we don't think about how they see you in relationships. So a lot of times, if you're not really trying to be there long term, it's really gonna mess with you because you're not trying to fully invest into that situation. Even though you know y'all may be cool, but you may necessarily not be interested in raising children at the moment. So it just depends.
Okay.
Yep.
What about you, Mr. Consul?
If she's not
Just say hell. Nah, we go to the next
gonna
question.
allow me,
Nah, Castle finna say something crazy. I know it. I know it.
if she's not gonna allow me to be a parent and co-parent, if she come with
Mhm.
raise my children and if they do something wrong, bring them to me, then she fine. Get out the fuck out of here.
Okay, okay. All right, Mr.
I got to
Consul.
raise children that I'm around. I can't. I can't.
Okay. Triz, what is your thought on being in a relationship or deal with a woman that has multiple children, especially that come from multiple men? Or
Shit, multiple.
what is your thought on it, Triz?
I'm gonna go with what I think is the natural response, the biological response, which is like the brother said, brother Melvin. You what you wait until the kids are a little bit older, and I think that naturally, there's more of a welcome or invitation to go ahead and settle down with somebody who got kids. Which that alone is okay. You got kids, whatever. I got kids too. You know what I'm saying? But that's not a big thing to people that once they mature a little bit, because you know when you're young, you got this pride thing that's like, I want to have my first kids with somebody and it's their first kids too, you know, and all of that. But once you get past all that, sure. But when they're young, this is nature here. The father of the kids is somewhere around hovering, right? Just like
Uh-huh.
so we got the same territorial map. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm also in his territory. We and when we run into each other, no matter how like cool we try to be, which we could be cool, but there's gonna be some underlying like resentment or like Melvin said, if there's something you didn't do that was like we all agreed upon and then you didn't come through or flaked or whatever, it's gonna be something that had to be said about that, and then that's gonna turn into, you know what I'm saying, a testosterone match. You feel me? Over time, or it might just be real quick, depending on how mature the people are. It'd just go straight to the hands. You know what I'm saying? But but when the kids are older, it's a little better to go ahead and do that, in my opinion. But I don't see nothing wrong with doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Now let me give my view. Um, well, I don't have an issue with a guy that has children. The issue that may come for me is the mother or the mothers of those children. That's going to be the issue because you got to deal with the baggage. It's not so much of the kids, it's just the personality of these women that were once involved with this man or that woman, and you got to worry about if she's going to use that child against him, or if she's going to use that child as a way to get into his pocket or to try to manipulate what is going on in the relationship. So for example, you might have that woman that might say, okay, you go over to your daddy house and ask your daddy for XYZ amount of money. And that child, and what I'm saying, that father thinking that that child is getting the money when the mother is the one that wants the money and she wants to, do whatever she want to do with it. Or let's just say you got to deal with the jealousy. The fact is, oh, you with my baby daddy, or I had a baby by him, or yeah, I bet you don't know that we still messing around with each other, whoopty whoopty whoop. And well, and so I mean, I hope you know that you ain't the only one that's with him. So it's a lot of things that come with it's that baggage. So it's like you gotta sit back and you have to be real skeptical. Like, okay, do I really want to be involved with this man as much as I like him, as much as I admire him? But this other woman, I understand that he has a child with this woman. I understand that his kid is the priority and they have to co-parent, but it's not going to work out if she's going to be doing conniving things such as trying to pick a fight, or putting sugar in the tank, or smashing out windows, putting holes in the tires and doing all kind of crazy stuff. So that comes with a problem. That comes with a major issue, and it becomes stressful because you not only dealing with him, but you got to deal with the fact that he got the kids and he got a kid with this crazy woman or crazy women, and you caught up in it and you don't even know. You got to figure out how you gonna configure this situation, how you gonna balance it all out, how you going to be able to hold your um remain calm and remain collective and not do anything that's going to put you into a situation where you either going to get locked up or you could possibly end up getting killed. Because if I don't know if y'all watch Fatal Attraction, but that stuff is real. I mean, you got people that's out here killing over their baby daddies, husband, and all this crazy stuff. So you're like, well, do I really want to take that risk? Do I really want to go for that? I mean, how do I handle this? How do I go about dealing with this? I mean, do she? So you gotta make sure that if that man does have a child or have children, that those women or the woman that he was involved with, that she has some type of self control, or and she's very mature about the situation. Make sure that she's not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize your relationship. So now you got to make sure that you in good hands with her. Because if you're not in good hands with her, then it's gonna be some major problem. So, and that's just my whole point on that.
In my opinion, I think that when you're in that situation, well, for the person who has the children, or at least is, I would say has the majority of the children, you got to be able to control that situation because nobody else will. So you have to be able to set boundaries for your ex and the new person. And I think if you don't do that, that's when all of that drama comes into play. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't do. So like when they get someone else, everybody in their lives start to disrespect that person because they never set any boundaries. So I think that's necessary, especially when in that type of situation. Um, you don't necessarily need to get along with the child's parents. It just needs to be a neutral.
Um,
In my opinion, based upon my experience, you don't necessarily need to be, at least from a male's perspective, you don't necessarily need to be kind of cool or you know, like well connected with the parents of that child. It just needs to be very neutral. Have the child's best
right.
interests
It
in
needs to be
hands.
some form of respect.
Yeah.
Right, right, right. So I
And if
think
you can't get that,
right, but I think if
I'm sorry.
anyone, no, I'm sorry, I'll be real quick. I think if anyone who can determine if you do have the child's best interests in hands, it would be the person that you with, not necessarily their significant other who's no longer in the picture. So I think
Right.
that's
True.
something that a lot of people kind of overthink things, and it's like, nah. I mean, at least from a male's perspective, that's how it is. Sometimes it may be different, and sometimes you may run across a very crazy, aggressive person, and once you see those situations, that's when you might just need to get out.
Hell yeah, you better run for the
Yeah.
hills.
Yeah. Yeah. All of
I
that
know
stuff
I
Yeah.
is just
did
kind of,
once.
those are basic. Like you
Nah,
already supposed to
I've
not
been in a
be behaving
situation
like
where I've
that.
dated women with multiple kids. Like I've dated a younger girl who had 5 kids, and to be honest,
Mm.
I ran for the hills from her, only because, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, really, I felt like her age didn't match the what was going on in my head as far as the calculation of how many kids she had. I thought that was kind of crazy in my head. She was 22
Uh-huh.
with 5 children. I was like, whoa, yeah, not gonna make it past Christmas. Nope, not gonna do it.
Nope.
Uh,
Uh-huh.
and like the thing with her was all of her kids were really young. They were all really young. So
Wow.
I felt like, hey man, if I date this girl, I'm gonna have to get real hands on with these children, and is that something
Yeah.
that I want to do with myself? I'm like,
And that's crazy.
that's something I got to think about because I'm like, yo, she's still young herself. I mean,
Right.
as I'm getting to know her, I'm understanding that none of these children's fathers are involved. So to me, that's a red flag that she has some type of personality issues to the point where she can't keep nobody around long enough. You know what I'm saying, to be around with her. So I'm like, you know what?
Right.
I didn't even get, you know what I'm saying, I didn't get it too far where it got serious. I had to just remove myself from the situation. On the
Hmm.
flip side, I've
Uh-huh.
dated a woman who was a little bit older with 4 children. That situation was cool. I didn't really have to get too hands on with the kids, and it wasn't necessarily that the fathers were involved because I really didn't really see too much hear from them. It was more of so that the children were of older age, and I didn't really have to get too hands on because they were already like knowing what they needed to do and kind of already steered in the right direction, and they had father figures in their life, which came in the form of their uncles and their like
Right.
granddad. So I really didn't have to get involved in that situation with the children too much. So like I say, it's just a lot of variables in in that particular thing, and it depends on the situation. That's the only thing
Right.
I can really say.
One thing I would add, especially like in that situation, the first situation that you were given with that scenario, a person like that, especially when they have a bunch of young children and they're young themselves, that person really just needs to take a couple of years to really just sit back and plot out not only their lives but also their children's lives. I think that's the most important thing, rather than a relationship. Just because like they're
Absolute facts. I agree a hundred and
yeah,
a thousand
just
one.
because
Mhm.
they're all very young. They're watching like hell, and especially with her not being mature enough to begin with, it's not necessarily wise to be thinking about a relationship. At that point, I'm thinking, okay, friends, definitely, but focus on raising them kids. That's like the priority, especially when they're that young.
So
Just
they're gonna have
because
for two first round draft picks.
I agree.
yeah,
Put on the waiver wire, traded for two first round draft picks.
Mhm.
Get out of it for free agency year. Once free agency,
Yeah.
you don't want to make that
Hey.
motherfucking franchise. Now you got to make
hey
that
man,
motherfucking franchise.
them draft picks is possible. I take cash.
Like, she
Yeah, you
becomes a
dealing with young
franchise player.
kids.
Yeah. I
Stuck with
mean,
You
that.
like
dealing with
you
a
got to
young
think, man.
woman.
You got to think, man. I definitely had to remove myself from this situation. I didn't do anything with her at all. Like once I started, like I found out everything I needed, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna even do it,
Mhm.
cause yeah, this is it's you got too much. I told her straight up, like, young lady, you got way too much going on in your life. I mean, you got five
Mhm.
children. You literally just separated from your fifth baby father. Yes, five. She got
Mhm.
five different ones. Like you literally just separated from your fifth baby father. Your youngest child is like 3 months old. Your oldest child is 9, and you 23. Like, nah,
Mm.
you just got entirely too much going on, and you need to sit down and do some thinking because you keep bringing people in your life and you keep adding to it. It's just like your life is spiraling out of control. You don't know what you're doing.
That's exactly what's happening, and they don't even see it happening at the time. So it takes a lot to be
Yeah.
able to tell
Right.
somebody that.
And to be
That's a
honest,
Right.
conversation we don't be having, man. I've had that convo too, man. With a scenario where
What
she
kind of, what?
and I'm gonna
what'd you
just be
say,
honest,
Consul?
like
What?
shame on the last two dudes that had kids with her because they obviously was taking advantage of the situation.
But she
Yeah.
let him.
Yeah,
She got to
she
be
Right,
let them. You
mature
know
right.
what?
enough.
She let them. She let them.
She
And
let him.
I'm not saying that she's not involved in the situation. She absolutely is. But I'm
That's her
saying
bad
though,
too.
if you're coming into a situation, you should know better than to keep putting. You know what I'm saying? Add to the damn situation.
Yeah, I'm out of touch with this shit right here.
Like I had,
Mhm.
What
like
kind of, what kind of
I had
vagina?
enough sense.
What
I
kind
had
of
enough sense
vagina
to
this
remove
motherfucker?
myself from the situation. I'm just saying.
What kind of vagina this motherfucker was?
Hey man, look.
What?
Hey,
23
Council. Hey,
again.
hey, bro. I didn't ask no
It took a
questions.
year and a half just to have one. Five?
and she not wearing no
Why
protection.
you?
She just up there sushi gang in the thing.
Damn.
Man,
Her
she
shit got
fertile.
to be. She need to
Fertile.
be at a laboratory and very.
Nah, nah,
Damn.
nah. You crazy?
Let's do the
Nah.
math, man. She 23. It take a year and a half, and that's if the baby come on time. It take a year and a half for the baby to come. So 23 minus 5 to 7 equal what? Man,
Come on,
Mm.
man. You know what you
Well,
was doing.
how many years apart are they?
that's deep.
I
Right.
don't know.
I
I
mean,
just know
what
they
they
know I was
8 minutes
young.
apart?
All I can
7 or
tell
eight
you is
minutes
this.
apart?
All I can say is her oldest child was 9, and her youngest child was like 3 months.
Wow.
Oldest was 9. God damn.
Yeah,
It
that means
goes
she was
down.
14 years old. That means she was 14 when she had him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She ain't
exactly.
taking no breaks. No breaks at all.
She ain't fucking around. She ain't fucking around.
Yeah.
Damn. That's deep.
Yeah, I had to let that one go. I threw that
I
back in the
feel
free.
you, shit.
I threw that back in the free
Yeah,
agent
that was a
pool. I
trap.
couldn't do
That
that
was a
one.
trap.
Yeah, I was done with that.
Yeah, I don't blame
Yeah. After your third kid, if you ain't wrapping it up, you just having too much fun.
you. You are.
You know what? The amount of kids ain't the problem. It's just the age that was the problem.
No, that's what I'm
I
Nah,
saying.
see them.
nah.
At
All
that,
right.
but look, at that, but
Okay,
look,
what's the difference?
her.
Look. A 45-year-old woman with 5 kids versus a 23-year-old woman with 5 kids. Come on now, that's a different ball game.
It's the age of the kids though. That's what I'm saying.
Nah, man. Yeah,
All that shit.
it's the age of the woman too, man. Because the 23-year-old, she ain't been through it to where she can actually like settle down and let her anxiety not get the best of her. An older person, they got time to kind of handle all of that frustrations of being a young adult and all of that, and taking it out on the wrong person. You know, self
Mhm.
development. An older person, they got a little more self development, man. So it do make a difference. I'm a
Mhm.
wait. That particular situation, I'm gonna wait for you to grow up. We could be friends and keep in touch,
But
and I can monitor you.
But
like,
And when I
listen,
who's
see when
listen,
I see
listen,
who
you
listen,
turning that
who's
listen.
corner,
who's 40? But look, who's 45 working on baby number three? Like,
Like, goddamn.
right, right.
Damn
Like
money.
Well,
you need
I
some
mean, well,
time
you
to
got some
breathe.
women that have kids later on,
yeah, but not like the third and fourth child.
Right,
right? Because when you get to that age, you at high risk, basically.
Right.
right,
Not
right.
only
She
not
need
only
about
that, you'll
10
be in your
years. She need
sixties.
about 10
Not
years,
only
man,
that,
of
you'll be in
recovery.
your sixties by the time the kid starts
No,
school or
hey, bro,
something like that.
be in the
That's some
'60s
bogus
at an
shit.
eighth grade graduation.
And you 60 and shit.
Got grays growing
Okay,
out of no.
okay, well, okay. So what
Goddamn.
about what about these men that be in their 70s and they be having babies?
Well, that's some amazing shit right there. That ain't nothing you reach on purpose. I know I can't be with no woman that can't take her dentures out and look out in high school.
I had to, I
we
had to
talking
sit
we
down and
talking
think
about
though.
nature here. We talking
I
about
had to sit
nature.
down and think like this. I had to think about this shit because if I'm 33, my only child, I got one son. He's 9 years old, and
Uh-huh.
I was 24 when he was born. So I was
Uh-huh.
24. I got to think about how old she was when she had hers. I'm like, yo, that's wild.
Yeah.
Right. Right. But yo, if you're 70 still having kids, you need to let the game go.
You
Time
already
to hang it
know.
up.
Yeah, if you 70,
Take
all
your ass
you
to
doing
the
is
house.
donating sperm. You're not finna be there in any type of fashion other than you was the father
Don't
of that
even
kid.
donate it. Just wrap it up. It's over. It's over. You probably ain't got nothing left. It's over.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have a next question,
Mhm.
and you're gonna hear this often. The talk about bad boys versus good boys, or bad guys versus good guys.
Oh, that's easy. That's easy.
Now,
Women, that's
okay,
easy.
wait a minute. I think is that my echo?
Yeah, it's a small echo, but
Okay,
you all right.
okay, then cool. All right. So recently, I seen a video where an individual was talking about how women feed off of gangster passion or gangsterism, and to feed off the negativity or the corruption or the pain that most of these guys that's from the streets or that's involved in some type of street organization, they feeding off their passion, thinking that with the aggressive, mean, and hardcore and real nasty attitude that some of these guys carry, there are women that likes that. They think that, oh, that's the definition of manhood, that he gotta be so aggressive and he gotta be so hardcore all the time, and he got mean mug everybody and things like that. So and it was a talk of how women value that over a guy that may be very humble and very compassionate and very intelligent, or that doesn't get involved into that particular lifestyle. So and my thing is, I understand the perspective where the individual is coming from as far as that, because you do have women that feeds off of that. But then I think that's also going back into the society that we're living in, and the media influence as well. How like how the image of a man is being portrayed on television, especially black men. How black men are being portrayed as gangster thugs and hoodlums and all that, and they gotta be so hardcore and stuff like that. And and then once again, you that goes back to the environment too. You know, if I grew up in an environment, right, and I see Pookie and Ray Ray and Big Mo, so Big Mo is like the big time hustler. You know, everybody respect him on the block, whoop de whoop. So now, by me being a female, you know, not having a father figure, okay, and I walk outside and all I see is these guys. Out of those three guys, more than likely, I'm going after Big Mo. Okay, why am I going after Big Mo? Because although Big Mo is a hustler, or he might be a thug, he might be a gangster, but Big Mo is smart, and you know he's real low key, and you know he knows the game, he knows the reality of life, and he's a very wise man, so he knows what it's like to he just have the life experience, and I can learn a lot from Big Mo. I can learn not only to how to hustle, but how to protect myself because he's a protector. So yeah, he might have other girls coming at him, or uh you know, he might have all the type of issues going on, whatever, but because Big Mo present himself differently from Pookie and Ray Ray, Big Mo is the one that I'ma go for. And I'm just using this in hypothetical terms. I'm just speaking hypothetically, you know, putting on a scenario. So, and that, I mean, that's just the mentality of these women. They're like, well, I mean, why not? I'd rather go for Big Mo than go for some average Joe out here, because what that average Joe is gonna teach me. I mean, if that average Joe don't know enough about life. I mean, he doesn't know his environment as well as Big Mo know his environment. Big Mo can tell me, "All right, this is who you need to be careful. This is who you don't need to trust. This is who you need to keep your eyes on, etc." The average Joe, he may not know about the type of people that he's around. He just know how to just work and just, you know, just make his money, or you know what I'm saying. He's just into academics and things like that. So I just wanted to see what y'all thought on that. That's all.
Okay, well, another situation where there's a lot of variables at work here. Now, I can only speak my
Yeah,
truth
yeah. Shout
because,
out to Big Mo.
yeah, shout out to Big Mo. Hey, nah, you know why he's saying shout out to Big Mo? Because that's actually my real nickname. But anyway, that's another story. Um,
Oh, okay,
but
okay.
but yeah,
Cap.
that's another story. So I'm just saying, if you want to holler, I am Big Mo. But that we'll talk about that later. Um, but no, seriously though.
I'm
Another
dead.
situation. Another situation where there's a lot of variables at work here. Now, I can only speak my truth. Now, from my personal experience and things that I've done, experiment, experimenting, I I can partially agree. I mean, there are always exceptions to every rule, but I can more so agree that women do go for guys a lot of more. It seems like they do go for trouble guys a lot more.
Mhm.
Um, and I'll say that because I've put myself in several situations where I was like, I bet I'm gonna be a complete asshole to this girl, and I'm gonna see what happens. And the craziest thing is the ones that I be complete assholes to. Now I'm doing this on purpose. They love that shit, and I know I can get way more out of them, and they'll be groveling at my feet. Like, you know
Mm.
what? I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be a good guy. I be that guy. They
And
don't
you don't
want
get
nothing. They
nothing.
don't want nothing to do with me. They're like, all right, you too nice, whatever.
See?
Bye. Or
Or they'll walk all over you. That's
yeah,
another
or
thing.
they'll try to walk all over you. I mean, I don't. I really, I don't understand this psychological nonsense. It baffles the shit out of me. I don't understand it. I
Right.
don't know how to figure it out. I just quit trying to figure it out. At this point in my life, I'll say, for me personally, I say, hey, I'm gonna just do me. If she rock with me, she rock with me. If she don't, she don't. Like I have my
Yep.
moments where I slap the shit out of somebody, but if there, I got my other moments where, hey, I'm reading the goddamn dictionary. That's just what I do. I'm all over the place here. So whatever day she get, it just depends on which part of me she gonna get. That's all I'm saying. That's all I can say about that part.
Consul, do you got anything you want to say?
Consul a bad boy.
I
He
think
always just an asshole. That's just what Consul is.
I just think it's just all about security. It makes her feel secure. Uh, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, it's just a,
Yeah, I was gonna say the same
it's just a
shit.
natural
It's natural.
response. If I
Yeah, but
mean, he may be wild, but he's secure.
Hmm.
Mhm.
It appeals to the physical. This is to go back to nature. It
Right.
appeals to the
So for
physical.
a nice guy,
If something do pop off, he can actually handle a little bit to let me escape. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
And then add expertise to the list, right? He got some expertise in some things, some street knowledge, some savvy. Now all of a sudden you entranced now as a woman, like wow, he's really dope. Big Mo, right? He's dope. Even though Big Mo is probably really limited to his perspective of being from whatever city he's from, he don't know a lot, but he know more than you. You know what I'm saying? So it just makes
Mhm.
him that much more appealing, even if it's a dangerous lifestyle that can end tomorrow. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
Right. Something else you gotta also keep in mind. You gotta also pick your poison because some
Huh?
people want
Melvin?
some people. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was saying you gotta also pick your poison because some people want that that benefit that Big Mo has, but he may also have something going on behind the scenes, whether it's psychological or just
Mhm.
his way of life that may not necessarily agree with you. So you got to
Mhm.
understand that that comes with the entire package. And a lot of people, especially women, when they get that big mo, they want to change him. He get the money. He know how to hustle. He can be very defensive. He can teach them things. But that's when they start saying, okay, well I want to change you to fit more of how I like. And that's a big problem. And that's where a lot of times you see the split because
And
they
see,
start
that's the thing.
bumping heads.
And see, that's the thing. See, you can't really change a person. That person has to be willing to make the changes on their own. So, and I think that that is an issue with a lot of us women. We want to change how the guy is, what I'm saying? And it's like you knew what it was when you got into that relationship with that person. You knew what type of mentality he
it
has.
cussed me out when I told her. I said, I asked her, it's crazy.
Right.
Uh,
But what I'm saying? You knew what it was, so you put yourself in that predicament. So now all of a sudden you trying to change them. That's something that's gonna be hard to do. That person has to be willing to do it for themselves. They have to be willing to see that there needs to be a change going on in their lives. If they don't see that, then you can't do anything about it. So your best bet is to move on and to find someone else. But we too busy holding on because we have that emotional attachment. So by us being emotionally attached to that person, we don't want to let go because we see that this person is not fitting for us, or we see that the person's mentality is not in that state that we expect it to be, but because we have this emotional connection with them and we got this bond, we don't want to let that person go. We don't want to let go. We want to just continue to be there, and that itself can be a serious detriment for us in a relationship, because now you have an issue where it can become toxic because you're trying to hold on, you're trying to change something, or change a person, and that person is not willing to let go or willing to change who they are, especially for you. So it creates chaos.
well, I like to keeping it honest. I mean, unless society takes a major shift,
Mhm.
um, I try to tell my sons, black men need power. They need power and they need money. Women come naturally with that because it's a sense of security and entitlement. So
Mhm.
black men have to be more. They have to be more sexual. They have to be sexually responsible, and they have to become more powerful.
Mhm.
They got to own things. They got to be able to create things. You got to be able to manifest things because no woman is going to respect you if you don't. She's not.
Right.
And I
Right.
Correct.
feel like men run the world. We are supposed to run the world, but if we don't take on that responsibility, when the woman don't see that leadership ability in you, it's difficult for her to respect you. And a lot of men
Mm.
misconstrue that for a woman being too outspoken or a feminist. No, it's okay. I want a black woman that's a feminist. I just don't believe in misandry. But the
Right.
feminism is healthy for women. I want my woman to love her being a woman and being a complete woman. But that takes
Right.
I got to be a man of power that demands, no, you my woman, and what I say go. I'm gonna listen
Facts.
to you. I respect you, but what I say go. But that's what has to happen. You know, you don't see that a lot.
What you say goes. Now, that can mean one or two things.
Mhm. It doesn't mean you my slave and I'm not listening to you. What it means is I'm taking accountability for being the head because I'm the man of the house.
Okay.
It don't mean what you got to say don't matter. Whatever you say, I'm gonna take it to the utmost consideration because you the one that I trust. But I don't need bullshit from you. That's what I'm talking. I don't need no female that's got an attitude with me. And the minute something don't go right, she become my worst enemy. I don't got time for that.
Oh, okay.
If you're not down for me, period, we ain't got nothing else to talk about.
Right.
That's just I come first and I come last. When them children, it's time for them children to eat. If my plate ain't on the table first, ain't none of them little kids eat. Say that.
Wait. Whoa. Okay. 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 Okie dokie.
No, sir. No, ma'am. I don't play that.
That's just a matter of perspective. That's cultural. You know,
My children,
Yep.
my
the era that you from.
understood the reason I'm eating is because my father and my mother helped provide and put the food on the table. It'll never be a moment that my children see that me and their mother, not on the same page. Even if we divorce, they ain't gonna never see we not on the same page. Because that messes the child's head up. It's got to be a structure where it's role playing involved. I'm not saying I won't cook. I'm not saying that only women should do that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in the order of structure, this is the government, and I'm the chief. I'm the chief commander, president of this little government we got in this house. Because if you don't, it's gonna be compromised all the way down. There ain't gonna be no respect nowhere. There ain't gonna be no. Mm-mm. I don't know, but I don't see that happening no time soon. Nowadays,
It's different now. It's different
yeah,
now,
it's different.
man. Like us, you know, generation below y'all's. We was raised a lot in broken homes, right? Single parent or
Right.
grandparents or
Yep.
something like that.
Yeah,
Yep.
And we had nothing in front of us but prideful people, men and women, talking about I don't need such and such. I don't
right.
need such and such.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be your mama and your daddy. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, that was also selfishness too. Just because they ain't what I have to deal with that other person. So instead of dealing with it or speaking about it,
Right. Let me
I'll
just
take I'll,
yeah.
I'll take both responsibilities.
Yeah, so I don't have to talk
You
to this
know,
person and compromise on stuff and work out plans and all that. I can just do it.
correct.
You're right. You're right. Absolutely. So we come from a lot
Mhm.
of that, man. So we kind of scared to go to that more traditional. We might look at it as like, oh, we being a sucker now. You know what I'm saying on this traditional shit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Hmm.
So you're right. It ain't gonna really happen no time soon like that.
And to piggy off what you were saying, Consul, um, a lot of women, a lot of people was getting upset with Fantasia when she was making a statement about submission, about how it's important for a woman to submit to a man. And and I understood where she coming from because you when you submit to somebody, you showing the value of that person, and you showing that person is worthy of. So I understood exactly, but other people took it as, oh, she got this slave mentality, and that by her submitting to her husband, she bowed down to him like he's some type of master or something. And that's not the case. Because I personally believe that both men and women should submit to each other anyhow. Um, and here's my thing. And in order for that man to uh be worthy of submission, he got to show those qualities as a man. He got to be able to show that he could demonstrate respect and love his woman and know how to see the value in her. And if he don't see the value in her and he don't show any type of respect, then he's not worthy of submission. And that's just the way I see it. I'm not gonna submit to somebody that's gonna treat me like a piece of shit. I'm not even gonna waste my time with you. I'm just gonna let your ass go. If you gonna treat me like I ain't shit and you don't see no value in me, and you egotistical and you arrogant, it's a no go. I mean, it's no go. What's the purpose? We ain't got no relationship. You might as well call it a dictatorship if that's the case. But so you got to be worthy of that, and you got to have that privilege. It's not just a right. It's a privilege. And that's where I stand.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, that's about knowing your mate to know whether or not it's a good idea and what do they mean by
Facts.
these terms that they're using, because everybody don't mean the same thing.
Facts. And you could find that out from the beginning of the relationship. It don't take that long for you to beat that.
Not at all. Not at all.
Man, it's 2020. Ain't no black woman submitting to no black man. That don't happen nowadays.
I mean, it depends on how she was raised.
Right. You never know what kind of person you might run into, and whether that would be good or bad. You never know. Some dudes, they might find
Well,
themselves with a woman that's submitting, but they not even ready for that game. They can't even handle
Exactly.
all these women
Mm-hmm.
independent. They don't need a man for nothing.
that.
Well, see, and let me argue that there's really no such thing as being independent. You're interdependent.
Woo!
Oof. Okay, you have to, because you can't do it all alone. You either a go getter or you're interdependent.
Mm.
Talk your shit,
So,
pastor.
so you can't do it by yourself. Because if you were totally independent, then you wouldn't need nobody, right? I mean, the
Right.
world would not operate. So, if you was independent, so that's a misnomer right there. Now, can she be a go getter? Yes, I'm a go getter because I'm gonna go get mine. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I have to rely on people for my resource. That means that I will have to work for somebody in order to get the money, get income, and take care of myself. Other than that, I ain't gonna get it. So,
Mm-hmm.
so you can't be independent. So that's a misnomer, and that's a misconception that a lot of women have. Cause that goes back to that dichotomy mentality that we have between men and women. So it's like the woman say, I don't need a man, or the man say, I don't need a woman. But at the end of the day, you're gonna need each other. That's just the way the world works. Which is one of the reasons why I don't go along with the feminist philosophy, especially the ones of today, because they're misleading the women. Now I can see if you're fighting for
Mm-hmm.
respect as a woman, I'm totally for that, because we deserve respect. We deserve to be acknowledged as humans. But to sit here and to have some type of hate towards the opposite sex, and by being a misandrist, I can't go along with it. I can't do that because it's like, what purpose are we? Where are we getting to this? What point are we getting at? How is that going to help us as women? How is that going to help us overall in general? I mean, what type of example are you setting to the other younger women out there? I mean, let's say you have a male child and you preaching that the philosophy that you're preaching. How you think it's going to affect him? So I just can't do it.
Yeah, that's going into the misandry, that we was talking about.
Hmm.
Basically, it's overcompensation,
Yep.
and so there's like a contempt for maleness, and there is that problem out there a lot of times. Women to be mad at a man just because he's a man, because he has broader shoulders, more dense bones. He's stronger or whatever, got stronger nails, better nails or whatever. They have a contempt, but this is just biology. This is meant to help protect you when we do this family unit thing and we have our little kids or whatever.
Right.
That it's there for a reason.
I
I'm
mean,
supposed
I
to be
can't be
kind of
mad at a
brash.
man for being a man.
I'm supposed to be kind of brash and aloof, right? And like I'm handling it. Don't worry about it, because my range is miles long. You at the house with the kids if you just first had a child, when you were in the rearing stages. I'm patrolling the neighborhood. You in the house. I'm protecting you out here. This is nature, you know.
Hmm.
So we're supposed to be a certain kind of way. Woman's supposed to be a little soft. The kids can fall asleep on her lap and get the milk and all of that. It happens for a reason. You can't really have contempt for that. That's where the problem is not really just
Right.
respecting our differences, and that's what causes that contempt. Like, yeah, we're not all the way equal. We're not gonna have the same levels of hormones, and we're
Of
not gonna
course.
we not gonna no. That's not how it's supposed to go, right? It's like a lock and a
Right.
key. It's shaped a little differently. It's a little different, but they work together and they help each other out and whatnot.
Right. Yep. Also, biology helps with that because if you see how when a woman interacts with the family of the children, there's biology that kind of backs that by enhancing certain features that if a man were to do the same, they're just not there, or they're not there to the same level, and then vice versa for a man's roles. So I think a lot of people don't really understand the that part of it, but I think more so, especially with the entire trans movement, everybody's trying to do everything at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I I can't be equal to a man. I'm gonna tell you that I ain't gonna never be equal to a man.
Right. There's a
But
misconception
as
there.
far as human wise, we're human.
Facts.
Correct.
You
Right.
know.
We're
But
socially equal. That's not what the argument
Facts.
is. That's not what the argument
Facts.
is. But biologically,
right.
we
But
are a little bit different.
yeah, and that's natural, and then that's something that we have to understand. But see, what happens is we live in a contemporary liberal society. And by us living in this liberal society, they try to make it seem like, oh, the woman can be the man and the man can be the woman. Now you can masquerade yourself, but you would never have that biology.
Facts.
You know
Correct.
what I'm saying? So I can masquerade myself as a man, but I don't have that biology as a man. I will never have that biology.
Yep.
So it is what it is.
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
So
it's much more than just having the look. You know.
exactly. There you go. Exactly. And same thing with the male trying to be the female. I mean, he can look like a woman, act like a woman, but he would not ever feel like a woman or be the woman, biologically speaking.
Publisher boy,
Huh?
no comment. No.
No, no, go ahead and say something. No. Listen, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Well, you telling me that there are men that have women that are going around trying to be the woman on purpose?
No, okay. What I'm saying is, how can I put this? because I don't want this video to get flagged.
Just say it.
But okay, so with the liberal society that we living in today, the contemporary society where it's more acceptable for men to act like women or to masquerade like women,
Right, they want to be chunks. I got
like they want to be what?
you. Chunks.
Okay. Like for example, remember that article
Hen peck
about
back in the day. They called you a hen peck man.
what was that? I think it was GQ where Pharrell was on the cover of the magazine. He had this big old dress, and it's something about defining masculinity or something like that, or redefining masculinity.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's like the reverse roles, it's more acceptable for men to be more feminized than to be masculine,
Mm-hmm.
and same way with women, vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, and that
Wow.
creates a serious problem.
That's wild. That's something new right there for me. Again, that's a new one. It's a new endeavor. But I do have a question because I already
You
know
know
about
what? As a 33-year-old man in this particular society, I've come to terms with this. That there are a lot of things that are just gonna pass me, and I'm just not gonna be, or should I say, not involved with. There's just some things that I can't deal with,
I
and
ain't
I'm
fucking with
sorry.
no,
I
I ain't
mean,
fucking with no mom.
yeah,
No
that's what I'm saying. Hey, if you want to redefine
punk.
your masculinity, my brother, go raw for it. But I'm telling you one thing right now, it's not
If
my
you
thing.
gay, I'm not your friend. You can't go there now. I
Not
don't
my
have shit to
thing.
talk
What you say?
about. Period. If you gay, I
You
don't
said
fuck.
what, Consul?
If you a homosexual guy, I don't fuck with you. We ain't got shit to talk about.
Facts.
I mean, what the fuck we gonna talk
Oh
about?
my goodness! Oh my
What
goodness!
we gonna talk about? Then you, I mean,
Consul, you wilding out.
you a punk
Hey
and you want to get
man,
in my
listen,
car and go,
listen.
where we finna go? Where we finna go?
Hey, listen. It
Catch
is
the
what it
bus.
is. But I
Exactly.
can tell you one
Come on, man.
Get
thing
an
though,
Uber.
like
Shoot.
that I'm not gonna deal with. Like I'm not no dude. I'm not gonna be wearing no purse like these new guys is. I'm not doing that. I'm just not gonna do that. It's not. It's not
No, and
something
you
that I'm
shouldn't.
passionate about.
Nah.
I'm not wearing a purse like these new dudes are.
But
I'm not wearing leggings like
right.
these new guys are. So I'm just saying there's some things that's out of my control that I'm not gonna deal with. Like that's a no no for me. I'm not gonna do none of that. It's not
Mo,
gonna
I
happen.
see you with some leggings. I'm gonna pass out.
And then no, what kills me is they say that when you know how when you guys say man up, they say
Yeah.
that's toxic masculinity. That's the part that got me.
Man,
How's it toxic though?
motherfucker ain't even gonna entertain it. They gonna be like,
Right,
Yeah.
how is it toxic though? That's my thing. Is it because you don't want to subscribe to it? That's fine. You don't have to.
what? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
that
I,
I'm
that's
not
just a
convinced.
saying
I'm not
that it
convinced
does mean
that man
something.
is shit. Once you tell me you gay, you might as well have the blue bonnet play. Cause I'm not fucking with you. Talk about,
you is wilding out.
but if you tell me we could be friends for 20 years, you like, man, I gotta change your heart. You know, I'm gonna try to.
Thank you, everyone. This has
Oh,
been
okay,
Team
just
Osiris,
let it
most
go.
likely out of this building.
What's your
Okay.
You'll talk to me answering your call, unfriending you, I'm blocking you. I'm not fucking
Mm, mm.
feelings.
He puts.
Oh,
Hey, Kyle, put them on the Matumbo list.
They out. I'm gonna hurt their feelings. I'm not finna talk. I ain't finna talk.
Constantly was our relative. You can't bring none of them over his house. You know what I'm saying?
They
Like,
want to talk about relationships and they heard and man, get your lame ass.
Hey, Kansu, man, the alphabet people, bro.
Oh, I hope they don't flag this
Can't talk
video.
about the
Just getting to the
alphabet people,
point.
bro.
Even it used to be the gay chicks was acceptable. You can't even deal with them no more.
Nah.
They're crazy. They want to fight you over their girl, and you looking at them like, girl, if I hit you in your nose right now, you finna disintegrate. You are a female. If I hit you in your nose, you are done. You don't have to go to jail for the rest of my life for attempted murder for the shit
Yeah.
you did to me. Like they want to get off. You can't go to the club around them. No, half the chicks gay. You don't know. They're very feminine. You don't know they're gay. So you trying to haul at the chick,
Right.
and her girlfriend slash boyfriend walk up. You gotta be
Yeah.
like, bitch, I will knock you the fuck out. What you mean?
Oh my goodness, he wilding out
Bitch,
tonight.
I'm gonna redress your ass. No, I'm great. I've never been. Like I say, this era is deep to me.
Yeah, it's crazy
Okay,
because
okay,
Homosexual
maybe.
women talking about how they finna go dick their girl down. How was you?
Oh,
How are you gonna do that?
Consul, wait a minute now.
Do you feel like a man when you on like do a gay female feel like a man when she wearing tampon?
Oh my god.
If you still a man, why you changing your motherfucking tampon, nigga? Because
Consul, stop it, stop it, stop
Yo.
female with the trenches and Mo, we don't know shit about no tampon. So
You
I
see
just
it now getting taken down.
about you and me. It's just like, I don't get it. I don't get it. That's crazy.
it. Oh my god, okay, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
um,
Oh, jeez.
Do you know
Oh my.
that's how niggas get murdered? Niggas will get murdered. Like all these other chicks be ready to pop your ass if you all at her girl. Like it's like I'm the abnormal nigga.
yeah.
That's a woman, nigga. I'm not supposed to holler at that. What's wrong with you? You the odd guy. You the one. You the weirdo.
Oh my
He said
goodness.
you the weirdo.
Woo, wee.
How dare you try to talk to the opposite sex? What's wrong with you?
That's comedy, man.
I
That's
can't.
that that
Oh
that
my
that
goodness.
adds a whole new
Woo.
layer on top of an already
I stay away
complicated
from niggas
thing.
nowadays. I stay away
Woo, okay, all right now.
from. Hey, the last time
Ooh.
I went to Atlanta last summer.
Mm.
I was in Foot Locker. My son, he's got his own gym. This nigga, he makes custom shoes. Okay, and he was trying to get this Foot Locker to hold to sell his shoe. So he talking to the manager about these niggas come up in here, man. This nigga was built like fucking Ray Lewis. This motherfucker was built like the thing and had on high heels. And this nigga looked at me and said, "You got some nice hair, bro." And I didn't really. I had to play it off because what I'm finna do with this big ass nigga? I'm gonna whoop this big ass. This nigga was big, bro. This nigga, I was about to hit this nigga in the chest. There ain't no way. I said, "No, I'm straight, bro." He said, "Yeah, you straight, man. Your hair nice." He kept talking. Like I never seen nothing like that when I was in Atlanta. I never seen grown ass men with high heels on hollering at you. Yeah.
Yeah, they out there and
Yeah, they
they not
bold.
Yeah,
ashamed.
they
Yeah,
out
they
there.
bold with it.
They not ashamed. You know, you got to be transparent and be like, look, I don't want you to talk to me if that's how you feel because they don't feel like they need to
Man, I
kowtow
wish
and
one of them alphabet people would. I wish he
Oh,
would.
I said the same
oh
thing.
my God. Okay,
I
okay.
said the same thing until it happened. I said I used to talk hella shit. If a nigga holler at me, I hit him in the mouth, woo woo wah. But you feel so violated and uncomfortable, you don't know what the fuck to do. I didn't know what to do, dog. I felt like I was just like I just felt like, what do I do? This nigga built like a
Hold
tank.
on, Kazu.
You have to
Hey,
whoop
Kazu, you
what
said hey,
this
you
nigga beat
felt
me up.
violated. Did you clutch your pearls, G?
The damn yeah. And the nigga was big. Mo, this nigga was big, dog. This nigga like six something and big, the muscle. I'm like, damn, I can't even whip this nigga ass right now. Like, what do I do? Like, man, I was running away from this nigga in that store. Like LeBron, man. I ain't gonna lie.
That's
I was
funny,
scared
man.
as a motherfucker.
Mm.
I'm
Wow. Wow.
serious. You don't expect that. Then the nigga had on heels.
Let me stop. Okay, let me hold on.
I didn't know heels come in that size.
He probably got them custom made.
Man, these motherfuckers look like them the wooden shoes Dutch motherfuckers wear.
Ooh, Jesus.
They are. But I do want to ask a question. Brothers
Okay.
and sisters, how do y'all feel about polygamy and is it the new solution to black relationships?
Okay, I want to say this real
Now,
quick because I gotta get off. Um, my thought on polygamy is I respect the concept and the philosophy behind it, but I don't think many people, especially in this generation, is ready for polygamy because it comes with a lot of responsibility and it comes with a lot of discipline. And you can't just get in a relationship and not knowing what you're doing and how to treat your partners equally. So, with that being said, I don't think that a lot of people is ready for polygamy like they say because that's a whole nother thing. You taking on a whole nother responsibility, and it's a tradition and it's a cultural thing too. So, with that being said, you gotta be mentally ready and emotionally ready and financially stable to deal with that. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
yeah, no, that ain't no solution. I don't know why people think that
Uh-huh.
changing the kind of relationship they have is going to make a solution for black people. It's just
Right.
another choice of the many choices that's out there for people to preoccupy themselves with, something to do basically while they in this rat race, and being bored when they off of work. I mean, it is what it is.
Hmm.
Hey man, look, from a
I mean,
business standpoint, I think it's a good idea from a business standpoint because I mean, in this particular society and what's going on now, it's like the money that an individual is making sometimes, you know what I'm saying, it's not necessarily enough to do anything. But I mean, if you can get people to get together and have two or three or four incomes, and you guys are actually doing like make opening businesses or, you know what I'm saying, doing opening other services where you're bringing income into the household and you're making your brand bigger, then I think that's a cool thing. You know, I think a lot of times when people think about polygamy, they think about it the wrong way because we've been conditioned to think monogamy and you're supposed to only be with one person. You know, I mean, it's whatever floats your boat. But like I said, I mean, from a business standpoint, I get it. I think it's cool. But at the same time, socially, you got to be ready for something like that. And to be honest, the way that we've been conditioned, I understand that a lot of men and women are probably not ready with
Exactly.
hmm
the emotional like the emotional issues of another person because you got to think, if your game ain't tight between you and your mates, you got to understand there's gonna be some social problems that's gonna be going on in
Of
that
course.
situation. You know what I'm saying? You might have a woman feeling like she's being left out or she's got to be jealous or she's probably not happy that you're having sex with this one person maybe more, you know what I'm saying, than they should be. Or on the flip side, you could be a man just thinking that, hey, I'm gonna get in this relationship just to have threesomes or foursomes and that's just what it's gonna be. And it's like, no, that's not the right way to go about the whole situation. So I think that
hmm
as far as polygamy goes, if that's what you want to engage in, then you need to sit down and have a serious conversation with the people you're gonna be with, and all the parameters need to be laid out and everything needs to be understood. If not, then that's not a situation that you should be engaging in at all because that's serious business right there.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think, I mean, if it works for you and you guys are able to get the best out of it, by all means, go for it. But for a lot of people, there's too many different clashes that people are gonna have. It's gonna be
Of course.
territorial.
Right. We
It's
don't
gonna
have
be
the
very
people
territorial.
skills. We gotta have the people. We gotta be.
Right.
You gotta be very skilled out here. And it's hard enough to be skilled just dealing with a monogamous relationship. Then you add in this other stuff.
Right.
You
And
gotta have the people skills for that to manage that.
right. And if you're so used to being independent and so-called independent or alone, having whatever you want whenever you want, like that changes when you're in that type of situation, and it becomes about the group instead of just what you want. So I think if you're really ready for that, I think I'm gonna give it a try, see if it works. But I don't think a majority of people are ready for that.
Nah, I mean to be honest, you can sit up here as a man and be like, yeah, man, I think I'm ready for that. But for real, you probably really not ready for that at all. Like,
Right, I agree, but like there's no way to really to tell unless you like knee deep in it and then you make a choice. Like there's really no way to tell.
I'm actually more afraid of it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love the business aspect of it because I know a guy who calls him. He's a Hebrew Israelite, right? And he's a good friend of mine. He's a cool guy, and he has a polygamous situation going on. This guy has 5 women that's in the house with him. He seems to make, and they seem to have everything together, and they seem to be making it work. They're putting their money together. They got a nice, big, huge house for them and the kids. They're not wanting for anything, and they doing their thing. And
Hmm.
I think that's cool. But I mean, me personally, I'm fearful of me. This is my perspective. And I asked him, I'm like, dude, how the hell do you manage 5 women in the house? Like, don't get me wrong, one woman is enough.
Right.
One woman is enough, especially a black woman. She gonna be on your ass, Jack. And
Yep.
how can you deal with 5 of those, yo? Like, if one black woman is enough for me, like that's enough. That's all I can take. But 5 of them, oh my god, I think I'd be ready to jump off a damn bridge.
Hey, but I think with them and that type of background, their agreed upon belief system builds that network for them, and it kind of makes it. I wouldn't say necessarily easy, but it kind of keeps them focused. I would say upon like the end goal when they have that type of
Yeah,
religious cultural background. So I think it
yeah, I
makes
can
it
see that. I
helps
can see that.
because you
Yeah, that
focusing
makes
on
sense. Yeah, that
yeah
makes
you
sense.
focusing on the betterment of from a religious standpoint rather than I'm gonna get mines. You know what I'm saying? So I think that helps. And I think that if you find some type of way to culturally do that, then that might work out.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, I got about one time to hear, Maurice, you stupid motherfucker. Then you hear it again, you be like, oh hell no, 3 of them, fuck 4, 5 of them. Oh no, I gotta go, G. I gotta go.
He said, "I'm out of there."
I won't be able to do that one, G.
I mean, yeah, whatever floats your boat, man. Honestly, the way I see it is, people gonna move fluidly from being monogamous and then into whatever other situations they want to do over the course of their life, and then back out of it too. You know, they're just gonna
Yep.
try it, right, experiment or whatnot, and so that makes me think like at different stages of your life, is it more appropriate to be in a certain kind of situation? You know what I'm saying?
Right, but that's why I think like people gotta people gotta stop being afraid of just having uh just a friendship so to speak or
True.
if necessary like just a fleck buddy. like people feel like that's wrong to have in
Mm-hmm.
this type of society, and I think that kind of helps because you guys know what you're in a relationship for. You know what the purpose of it is for.
Mm-hmm.
So your expectations are kind of not necessarily capped off, but they're just kind of realistic, so to speak.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people, instead of just saying like, you know what, I mess with you, you mess with me, you know what I'm saying? We'll keep it the same, but we'll do a little bit more here and there instead of just okay, let's actually move in together or some, let's get married and shit like that.
Right. Right.
It's just too drastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
You guys think about the biological aspect. We see in the animal kingdom where the passion and the I guess the most intense time in the relationship is when you're having these new kids, and then they're in the
Hmm.
beginning stages of life or whatever. They in the rearing stages, and then once that's kind of over with, you can see even though they still fucks with each other, the mom and the dad, they tend to kind of go and see, okay, what else is out there, right, on the menu that I can move on, I guess, with another person, and then do this whole thing over again, right? Have the hormones kick in. Now you're having a kid with another person,
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. Is it natural for us to be behaving this way too? And we kind of put too much pressure on ourselves. We're trying to be like we have to achieve being together with this person for the rest of our life. Otherwise, we failed, at this thing or whatever.
Right, right. Yeah, I think you got to be realistic. You got to be realistic with your expectations, and the moment you try to add what you want to happen, or you start adding fantasy and things like that, uh, when those expectations get crushed, you have to live with that.
Hmm.
If you get a good 20 years, you did a great thing.
There we go. There we go.
Yep,
There we
yep.
go.
After 20 years with somebody,
Right.
I've built some, you can went through some things. It might be time to move on. It's
Yeah.
a different
Mm,
day of time. Bread don't cost 13 cents a loaf no more.
right.
Nah.
Children expensive as hell to raise. The economy is crazy. You know,
Yeah, rent is like three stacks.
man, bro, just chalk
Hmm.
it up as a wonderful experience and move on with your life, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how I see it.
Yeah. But
Instead, I'm
I think
sorry.
a lot of people who back in the day did, go 20, 15, 20 years.
Mhm.
Uh, a lot of them, I'll be honest with you, and this is also based off of me interacting with them and experience. A lot of them, at the end of the thing, didn't like each other,
True.
but they made peace with that, and they were fine with that,
True.
you know.
That's true.
So it takes a lot of strength and humility to be able to stay with somebody for that long and
Under some
not.
type of societal premise.
Yeah.
When most people get married under society's terms, don't even get married under their own time.
Correct.
Facts.
Correct.
Facts.
It's like a fallacy to begin with.
Yep.
Right. I think if you if you ask these people why they getting married, and they say, oh, it's because of love, they really have no clue because that's gonna wear off, and
Yeah.
that's not gonna be the reason that keeps you guys going.
Hmm.
Once you live with a person and you see how they maneuver from day to day, like, it's different. They start doing things that tick you off, and it's just different when you with somebody and then you can't tell them see you tomorrow or something. Like, it's different. So
Hmm.
I know me growing up, a lot of my elders, they damn near didn't stay in the same room. Like they
yeah,
Correct. Correct. They
yep,
had their own different
didn't
separate
know
rooms.
why.
You right.
You didn't know why, but it worked
Right.
out. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
It was a therapy that helped them to actually maintain their
Facts.
situation. You know, look,
Yeah.
Pops is in his game room right now. He watching the game.
Yeah, that's sacred
He got his
ground.
drinks going. Don't
Yep.
mess with him. You know, you can knock on the door and be like, hey, you know, interact, but
It's
he
the
doing
base.
his
Yep.
thing. You know what I'm
Base.
saying?
Yep. The basement too. Yep.
Right.
Yep. No, it's
Yep, the
like sacred
basement.
ground. You
Yeah,
gotta. That helps you get some peace in the whole situation.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. That's real.
that's very important, man. We can't smother, you know, our mates and stuff. And a lot of women, they do have that bad, you know, disproportionately than to us men. They will smother you, and they don't know that they doing this a lot of times. And
Mm,
it's like you messing up the situation now by doing
Right.
that. You giving anxiety vibes out, you know, and it's a shame.
mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep. And that smothering that you're talking about actually goes back to what we talked about in the last show, which is partially possessiveness.
Yeah. I need to
Yeah.
see.
True. Yeah,
I
that's
see
right.
what your father do like that.
Correct.
I see how you act with your daughter. I'm not
No.
your father. That's not.
Yep.
Yeah, that's some real talk.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And it might even come from a place of good where, you know, like, well, I see a good person here, so if I just direct them and utilize them, you know what I'm saying, like a video game character, then the outcome would be great. But it's like, it's not like, no, he is his own person. You can't do that to him, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't do that.
Right. This ain't the
You know,
Sims.
you're right, right. You can't do that. Mm-mm.
So what about this new era of women shifting and actually being the financial head of the house?
It's pretty
I've
much
seen it
necessary.
happen.
It seems to be causing a problem.
It's not really causing a problem if you know your expectations and you guys can, regardless of the shift, because it's gonna shift again, regardless of the shift, that you guys are still gonna work together.
Hmm.
And I
Correct.
think I think when it was the opposite way around, it was like, okay, I'm the breadwinner, so I get to choose this, and this.
Right.
It was more like a power trip.
Mm-hmm.
So now that women have, gotten things shifted in their direction, they got more support in the choices. They have more career choices. A lot of them making more money than men because they took jobs that men necessarily either didn't qualify for or did not want. So now they have that flip side of the power trip.
Hmm.
So it's just
Mm-hmm.
regardless of who makes what, like, are you guys gonna work together with it? And that if it becomes a problem if there's an ego issue
Hmm.
and we're not working together. Because
Right.
then it's like,
See.
okay, you're just gonna be like, okay, look, I'm making all the money, so I get to make all the choices. Like, it don't work that way for
Hmm.
either
Right.
side. For either side,
In,
that's when it becomes a problem.
in
But if
this
you know that,
economy, shit.
right, right. But if you know that, hey, it's gonna shift again, I might get a come up that puts me on top again, or she might get a come up that puts her on top again. But regardless, whether we both successful or not, we still working together.
Right. It's not a knock on you as an individual or something like that. Like you
Correct, correct.
said, that would be crazy to hinge your success off of that. Like you'll be
Right,
a hurt individual.
right.
You know.
For a lot of people, it's an ego thing, and I'm like, it's for me, it's completely unnecessary. No,
Facts.
as long as we good, we good. Like, I ain't tripping about
And as
that.
a matter of fact, because of the economy being the way it is, you can't really afford to have that ego. Like you need to make
Facts,
less. Like no, you need to encourage you. Both the mom and the dad have to work. Like that's just what it is.
facts, facts.
We at some
Like, we
point we got
both
to
we
do the
both going to
babysitter.
school. Yeah, we both going to work, and we both going to school, and we taking care of the kids, and like we grinding nonstop.
Right, right. Like it's necessary in order to meet the goals that we trying to do out here. We both
Facts,
got to be working. I mean, it is what it
facts.
is. So you just got to come to terms with that.
Yep.
You can't afford to be So when you come with that attitude, now the woman feel like you want her to be poor. You want her to be barefoot, in the kitchen, that so to speak, or how they used to say, barefoot in the kitchen, making something to eat or
Yeah,
whatever, not making no money.
really, right, really like a dependent. Like, hey, I need $5 to go
Right,
get some bread. Like, what?
right.
Well,
Dependent.
our next show is kind of what I wanted to. We're going through a Renaissance period.
Hmm.
There's two fields of study that's really changing society, and that is CRISPR with the manipulation of genes
Hmm.
and coding,
Ooh, now you didn't went there with it.
Biological coding, or
computer coding,
okay, because you know
and
that they do have
biological coding.
biological
So we're
coding.
talking
Biological coding is
AI
different
and
and
transhumanism.
coding with languages and programming because
Right.
it's getting ready to change the economic landscape in the way that we make money and the way that we work. It's a serious situation that's actually happening.
Yeah, yeah. It's already started to change, especially
Yeah,
if you work in the tech industry. You already kind of see that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Whereas the qualifications of yesterday almost don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
And there's new qualifications now, and you don't need necessarily a college degree for that. So those of us who have gone through school, we see like, damn, that was a waste of time. So
Yep.
right, so the only way you would go back, and in my case, I plan on going back starting next year, is when you see that, okay, now that I understand that it was a waste of time, what am I going to go back for? What do I need? So then you say,
Right.
okay, well, let me find a university that puts in certification, since in my particular field, that's what you need. So then you shop around for the right school that provides you what you're looking for and the total package. So now it's not about that master's degree. It's now about, okay, what else can they offer me for what I need for the next 10, 15, 20 years?
Particular skill sets. We're not talking about just
Correct.
general education, which is basically saying,
Correct.
yeah, I was a great student. I was in school for hella long years or whatever, and I got
Right.
this general degree that could apply to kind of anything, but it's not really specific. No, we
Correct.
talking about specific skill sets
Right.
that are going to turn into lucrative situations, business situations
Facts.
for
And you don't need to know calculus to understand that.
correct,
You don't need to
correct,
take irrelevant courses
right.
just so that way, you know, the school says, "Hey, he qualifies."
Yeah,
So yeah, I think it's a great topic. I'd love to talk more about that topic. Um, Also, CRISPR, I definitely would like to talk more about that because
yeah.
it's not it's not as successful as they're expecting it to
right.
be. It's changing things, but those things that it changes, they also adapt. Well,
It's
The
There.
HIV
In other words,
virus
there's
is
side effects for whatever changes that you're trying to
it's creating
do.
a
not
conversation.
right, right.
And you know what? This ties into the dating relationships and all that too, because
Yeah,
it changes the family where somebody can say, "Look, I want to do a self fertilization type of situation."
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
hmm,
Because some people do have mitochondrial DNA from the father and the mother.
yeah,
In rare situations. So those kind of people, they might say, you know what? I'm gonna do a self fertilization, and I don't need to have a mate. I'm not mating anymore. It changes the whole definition of mating, the beginning of the family and all that stuff. It's totally different now.
I mean,
and and there's not to cut you off, Constantly. Also, there's also benefits for those who choose to go that route. So it's not like they're alone in their decision. They have some support as well. So
Hmm.
yeah, again, I think that's still part of the ego power trip.
yeah, everything is changing with the human biology, even the length of age, the work that they're doing
Yeah,
with telomeres is frightening. I mean, it's getting real close to a battle of you know um, attrition in the ethics
yeah,
because now scientists are having to deal with ethics. Like, we got the technology, guys, but do we push the envelope? Do we do we take the human experience to the next level where we're living to be 200 years old instead? Because right now, that you don't see it much, but the average age span is 120. That's the that's what's expected to get out of a healthy body, 120 years, and they're at the on the cusp of adding 80 more years to that. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's gonna be
That's a
wild if
lot.
the mind can keep up with that without being in a state of like Alzheimer's and
Right.
Hey,
schizophrenia and so on.
hey, that's why you start them young. So I think with a lot of the coding and things like that, it gets a lot of these children started young,
Hmm.
so young to the point where they're hireable because of their skill set. So that's something that even though indirectly it's not labor, it's not something that's very physically consuming. It still gets them into that position early.
Hmm.
So I think that's one way to challenge the longevity issue is to start younger. So, by the time you turn 16, 17, 18, you've had not only some experience, but, you're no longer just starting the beginning of your career. You're in it.
Yeah, you like already been working for a few years already.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, you're a
Correct.
cog in the system,
It's
contributing
almost
to society.
right. It's almost like child labor, but without
Mm-hmm.
the labor.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
Hmm. So yeah, I thought that would be good for the next show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. But this was awesome, man. Appreciate Tiffany who brought the woman's perspective. I wish we could have more sisters on the panel um, when we have these kind of shows, just to give credence and be fair and objective um, on both sides of the spectrum. Because black relationships are definitely shifting in so many ways. A lot of quasi elements have been added to the black experience, and even the way that we handle racism is different. It's one
Mm-hmm.
point. So that's what's up, man. We appreciate you guys. We've been here for a couple of hours. Um, we do
Yep.
thank everybody. Any last words anybody have before we close out?
Stay within your
Uh,
limitations of your abilities. Don't try to overshoot for things that you're not really ready for, man. That's pretty much what I would say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I definitely agree with that. But sometimes some people got to shoot their shot. But even if you shoot your shot, just you make sure you pick your poison. If you gonna stick with it, stick with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just don't want nobody taking half my money. So
that
Hey,
is,
hey, shout out to Big Mo, yo.
yeah, Big
Shout
Mo.
out to all the big mo's in the
yes,
world,
sir. Yes,
man.
sir. Yes, sir.
You already got a lot going for you if you're a big mo. You just got to pick up a few books, maybe get on a couple planes and see the world, and you have a
Get,
lot to offer.
get you a male horse, get you a male stallion, and
Man, try it.
head off into the sunset.
This
My
guy
baby,
here.
she a stallion.
Carmelo Anthony, get the hell out of here.
uh, well, that's funny as hell, man. uh, and we haven't. We got to do our annual. Outside of science and technology, which it is what it is. It's if you haven't seen it now, we were talking about this for 4 years. Without technology, engineering, and math, you're really not talking about shit. But
Facts.
um, uh, every year we talk about hip hop and rap, y'all. That's a passion of ours. and the state of hip hop is pretty sad right now. It's some of the worst music I've ever heard in my life. Some of the absolute worst.
I completely disagree.
I
And the
knew,
sad part
I
about that
knew
is,
that.
hold on, he
I
completely
knew that was
disagrees.
Hold on. Hold on. I ain't done. I completely disagree because it's actually the opposite. It's
Don't
actually
say
really.
it. Don't say
what.
Hold on.
All right, thanks for coming out, y'all. Good
It's
night.
it's actually the opposite. It's actually really good quality hip hop out here, but you can't be lazy and not look for it.
it. Hey, there you
Neil, you
go.
going? See, you taking it to an extreme. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about looking for the underground night one takes. I ain't talking about all that.
That's
I'm
what you're forced to
talking
do now, though.
Yeah.
well, that's of course, but that ain't what normal people do, man.
Yeah, no,
Hey,
you're right. You're right. But I
can I
mean,
be
that's
the
just
voice
what
of
you got to do.
reason
You
in
got to
between you
do
guys?
your
Can I be the
diligence
voice of
as a
reason in
fan
between
now
you guys?
to find stuff because you
Yeah,
could find trash back in the
Go
day,
ahead. Go
and you could
ahead.
find
Listen,
trash nowadays, and you could find golden material back in the
Yep.
day, and
listen.
you can find golden material nowadays. You
I
know, but
completely
back in the
agree and
day,
disagree with both of
companies
y'all.
had they were better at presenting you with stuff that was real
I
good.
don't think Triz can hear you.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh, it was he was talking. No, I can't hear him.
No.
Oh damn. Okay.
My bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was saying I agree and disagree with both of y'all. I'm in the middle. Like, I give what Consul saying, like, yeah, some of it is absolutely terrible. But I get what Mel's saying too. Some of this shit is phenomenal. It's just at this point in the game, you got to realize this. We're gonna save it for that particular show, but I'll give you this little bit of wisdom from my perspective. Music is subjective, and hip hop is not is no longer just one particular flow, one particular sound. This thing
I
is
agree
so
with
multifaceted and it's so big that you got to find what works for you.
you. Yeah, okay.
Hey, shout out to Big Mo, man.
I'll let you get away with that shit for right now. I'll listen to that motherfucking what was that shit? Some of that money bag yo shit. He everybody claiming the album hard and
Now
um
you just my thing is you gotta be if you
oh
gotta. It's not that you gotta look hard because you if you stream you can find it. It's just that because all the trash is popular right now. That's what makes it like appear that hip hop is just dying, but it's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, I
You
think it
know.
makes you less willing to click on that link of the new stuff you haven't heard before. Like
Correct.
nowadays,
I wait. I
you'll
wait. I
skip
wait.
over it.
Right. I wait at least 2 to 3 months before I hear something new.
Right, right.
Just
So
because I'm such a fan of really good quality content, and I follow the artist, so I subscribe to the artist. So if the
yeah,
artist releases something, and I'm already a fan of their work. I'll listen to that first before I listen to something that came out this week.
right, right. So I think we just got to give it a chance every now and again. Incorporate a day where we say, all right, I'm gonna just like click on new stuff that I ain't never heard before and just see if anybody catch
Facts.
my attention.
That's
And
what
then
I
you can
do.
say you
That's
found
exactly
somebody you
what I
like
do.
that a song that you like now.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what I do. Also, if you look at like a particular album that you enjoy and you look at the features on those albums, you say, okay, let me peek this person out and see
Uh
why they
huh.
chose to put them on the album, and then you start
Yeah.
seeing, oh, okay, this person's type too. Okay,
Hold
let
on,
me
hold
go
on,
ahead
y'all. Hold
and
up, y'all.
Uh huh.
We giving them
Yep.
too much.
Facts.
We got to say that
That's
for the
how it used
next
to be
show.
in
We
the
giving them too
mixtape
much.
days back in the '90s. Like we used to see all the features and who
yep.
was on there,
facts,
and
So
then
facts,
okay, let me go check their album out then and see if they
yeah, we
tight.
facts.
shout out to Dojo Cat, cold as hell. Shout out to yeah, yeah, laugh niggas.
Yeah, I think we giving them too much, man. We got to say something for the next show. Thanks for shouting me out, Mel. It's Big Mo. I'm just looking for my Tiffany in the world. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. Hey, man, my
Yeah,
fellow Tiff doing right now. What we doing right now.
Big Mo trying to come up. So if y'all want Big Mo,
We trying to
just reach
come up
out
in the
to us,
world.
man.
We don't want to stand on the corners no
We
more,
want
man.
50.
We looking for we trying to move up in the world. We ain't trying to stand on the corners no more, yo.
If some of these conscious holders that fell off Big Mo, they probably give you a ring, you know, the conscious holders.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, but conscious holders used to be stuck up. Now don't nobody want the motherfucker. Don't nobody want no conscious motherfucker. Them be the worst rounds. Okay.
Yeah, all they want to do is talk about crystals and play with yoni eggs. I'm tired of that.
Yeah, you can do that by yourself.
Drink sea moss all off. That's what it is, y'all. We just spitting and talking shit. But we appreciate your support and all the love that we get, you know, each and every time. And shout
Hmm.
out to brother Goldie. Shout out to P.T. Bella. Shout out to brother Johnson Kane, the Black Jesus. Shout out to Kasike. You know what I'm saying? Dominica. Shout out to Malik. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to man, who am I forgetting that? Shout out
PT
to
Gala,
I said Geeky. What's the
like you
brother?
said. Okay. Terrence,
brother Terrence.
Yeah,
Hero,
Hero. How could I
Shout out
forget
to brother
Hero?
Hero. Yes, sir.
Malik,
Brother Malik. Yep.
Kufu.
Yeah. So shout out to the
Oh,
clan, y'all.
what?
Well, I'm saying I'm
Hold on,
calling
wait,
us a
wait, wait.
Yeah,
Hey, you
yeah, the
gotta
clan.
Oh,
quantify that.
okay.
Which
We deep
clan
like the
you
Wu
talking
Tang
about?
Clan up in here.
Right, you almost violated.
Oh, I got a question, man.
Oh,
What y'all think about this upcoming debate? Because it'll be over by the time we come back.
Right.
Between Amin Squad and actually, I don't know if these is real doctors or not. I don't know who
Uh,
the fuck they debate.
hold on, wait. Do you
I
want
don't
my
know if them
honest
dudes been
opinion, or do I
vetted or
got to
who
give
they
a
are, or they
political
just some
answer?
guys off the street, or I don't know
Honest
how
opinion,
serious
though.
this is or what. I think we gonna see they gonna get their metal tested, whatever the case, and we gonna see, man, what comes of this. But it seemed kind of funny and suspect just off top, honestly or whatever.
It's just
I
something.
smell a
It's
pseudo.
something they
Hey,
add, bro.
I
man.
smell a.
They adding up.
I smell a pseudo and pseudo meeting. So we'll
Huh?
see.
It's just something not adding up. There's something ain't right about this whole.
Yeah, yeah.
I
They
don't.
might be some low hanging fruit type dudes that they picked, man. But it's still they still have to do the engagement. So
And you
even
know,
though they
Our Squad is pro vaccination.
right, and that's cool, that's whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, who are these dudes that they going up against? Are they
Yeah, I
vetted?
don't know.
Are they quacks? Like, are they some straight just bottom of the barrel quack type
Yeah, they
dudes that they
going
about to
up
put on
against some quacks, man.
on on the
These
show
some
or
quote
whatever?
unquote
I don't know,
they
but
some
it
quote
might
unquote
turn into a clown show depending on how things
brain
go,
guys who
man.
are
It don't seem
busy,
like
but
it's
they're
really
against
legit, but we'll
vaccination
see.
though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll see, man. I don't think it's gonna be beneficial for either side. I don't. I think it's gonna be comical at best.
That's funny. So
I think I'll vote for the Quacks just because they'll have their shit together. I know that.
if
Right.
Sean
Nah, bro. I'm going against the
opens
grain.
his
I'm
mouth,
going
and what's this guy named Sean
squad.
M. Harriet? M. Harriet. M.
Inherit.
I'm just voting for the Quacks just because he exists. I don't really care about.
Now,
Okay, I do.
I'm only going for the Quacks because I know they're gonna be organized. That's it.
Right. They're
Oh,
gonna
we
be in
gonna
Hey,
we
unison, they're
look,
betting
gonna be
money on this?
rehearsed, they're
I
gonna
just
be,
want to know, are we betting money right now?
believable, all of that stuff. They're gonna have the
Hey,
I
anecdotes.
if you try to bet some money, man, I'm with it.
They're gonna hit on Ross Squad over the head with these anecdotes and
bet.
pseudo
I'll be
belief
I'll be
stuff.
more than happy to take your funds.
They're gonna
Don't bet
appeal
no
to
money, man. You be
emotion.
cussing at the computer.
Hey, nah, man. Hey, nah, man.
What
Hey, hey, the squad gonna win that
They
battle,
might let
yo.
these dudes dance on their head like that though, for real.
Nah, it ain't
Nah,
happening, G.
and you know what?
No, I'm
And
saying
you
the
know what?
squad might
Like
let these quacks dance on their heads, man. With
I'm
they
gonna put my
tactics.
faith. I'm gonna put my faith in the
They gonna
squad. I'm
be
gonna tell
well
you why.
rehearsed, man.
Hey,
We
hey,
been
hey,
asking
Rue, you
for.
know what happened the last time you did that, right?
remember the last time I put my faith in the squad, I got let down tremendously, and I looked like a total buffoon. I get it. I'm fine with that. I took that. I took that. But this
Are
time,
you also fine with losing your money too?
hey man, look, I'm going for the squad this time. I'm telling you why. Yo, listen. We've been asking for a debate of you know what I'm saying. Hey, why don't we start debating people of backgrounds? Now we finally got it, and now they debating some quacks. I just hope that they bring their A game in enough sense to go ahead and beat them. Saying that's all I'm saying. Now if we get run
That's
around
saying a
into
lot.
the whole situation and they doing hip hop, they doing hip hop songs, then I'm done with it. Okay, I'm done with it. It's over.
You asking for a lot, man, because you ain't really got nobody that knows how to present themselves in a quality fashion. That's what Mel is talking about. And I agree.
Oh
But
yeah, for sure. And you know what? That's the yeah, that's completely
Can't
true.
renege now.
Yeah, I'm not
that's the
gonna argue
only
with that at all.
problem with these guys is that they're gonna try to come across like doctors and they're gonna get fucking bodied.
They gonna get squatted on. They
That's the only thing
And
I'm
they
the
worried
can't.
first,
They not gonna be able to
the
out
first,
bullshit a bullshitter. That's what's gonna
in
happen there.
the first instance, they show a little bit of emotion. It's gonna turn on them.
It's over with. It's over with.
And these
But
ain't the type of guys that'll yell back at you. It's click, conversation over.
yeah, so we'll see. It's gonna be interesting. The whole vaccine conversation. I figured we could talk about it, but it's kind of been worn in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pro vaccine uh, in certain circumstances, but it's gonna be
Correct.
the conversation is gonna be interesting.
Yep. Yep.
But that's what's up, y'all, man. Team Osiris in the building. Everyone get rest, be peaceful, and be safe. And we out of here, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Peace.